U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Friday that he tested positive for the coronavirus shortly after the COVID-positive diagnosis of one of his top aides. In the announcement on Twitter, it also mentions that he and his wife will immediately self-isolate. Trump's doctor says the couple are currently in a good condition and that the president will continue to carry out his duty in isolation in the White House. Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence has tested negative for COVID.
On Friday, a bombshell was dropped into U.S. election campaigning.
It says tonight, FLOTUS and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together.
Trump and his wife confirmed on Twitter in the early morning Friday that both of them had tested COVID positive. The news immediately captured international headlines. The White House canceled plans for Trump to travel to key swing state Florida later that day. According to a White House physician, the president and the First Lady are in good condition and will stay in the White House during their recovery period.
Is off, but then it does say at the end, rest assured, I expect the president to continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering.
Shortly before Trump received his diagnosis, Hope Hicks, one of his closest aides, Hicks had taken a charter plane with Trump and several senior White House officials several times this week, accompanying him to the first presidential debate and to campaigning in Minnesota. After learning that Hicks had been infected, Trump praised her in a telephone interview with Fox News. He said he and the First Lady had just been screened for the virus and were waiting for the results.
And I just went out with a test. I'll see what, because we spend a lot of time, and the First Lady just went out with a test also.
On the evening of October 1st, Trump flew back to the White House. In his last public appearance, he looked no different from usual. Trump is 74 years old and thus in a high-risk group. His future campaign schedule may be affected. Taiwan's presidential office says that as soon as President Tsai Ing-wen heard the news, she said she hoped President Trump and his wife would recover quickly under the professional care of his medical team. However, the news has massively roiled the markets. U.S. stock futures fell sharply on Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by up to 500 points, and the S&P 100 was sent plunging.